What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Fandom United number 20. Geo here, and I am joined by Mr. Keith Barnes once again. We hope to make this a weekly thing. Keith, how you doing this Sunday evening, sir?
Doing good. Doing good. Very hot day today, Sacramento, California. But doing all
Yes,
right.
summer came early, dude.
Yeah, yeah. We're really early to be this hot. So I don't know. I don't like that. It's not a good sign. I don't like that.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a little alarming. It's April. It's already 90 degrees in
90
Northern
some degrees.
California.
Yeah.
Um, And looks like we got a guest here. Thank you, Star Drew, for being
Star
here once
Drew,
again. I appreciate it.
what's happening?
Appreciate it. Yes, he says hello.
How's it going?
So this is only my second time doing this as far as live streams on a Sunday evening. I'm still figuring out, but as you can see with the graphics, I'm kind of adding personal touches here and there. What I like to do with these streams before we just kick off the conversations is just catch my subscribers up, my audience, up on everything that I've been interested in talking about. And the first thing I'm going to do is bring up a trending event that happened on Twitter, I believe 2 days ago. And it was hashtag release the air cut. And it's fans calling for Warner Brothers to give David Ayer the opportunity to release his original director's cut of the movie Suicide Squad. We believe that because we were correct with Zack Snyder's Justice League, how that movie came out and was a huge success, positive reception, positive buzz. We still don't know the HBO Max numbers as of yet, but we got to assume that they are hiding that for a reason. We tend to believe it's because the numbers are actually better than the projections that Warner Brothers initially had for the movie. So hashtag release the air cut was on Twitter a couple of days ago, and this is my graphic that I did for the trending event. And as you can see, I pulled quotes from David Ayer, one on the top left, where he talked about making an amazing movie, but it scared the crap out of the executives. This is during the time when the executives weren't, too confident about the direction of the DC because of Batman v Superman and the reception behind that movie. And as you can see on the top right, David Ayer talks about cutting the first 40 minutes of his movie, which we got to assume is a lot of character backstory that could make us even more invested into the characters like Jared Leto's Joker right there. And the trending event was a success. It garnered over 100,000 tweets just in one day without any kind of celebrity help. As you can see to your right, it caught the attention of AT&T. AT&T owns Time Warner. Time Warner is the parent company of Warner Media, HBO Max, Warner Brothers. This screenshot in particular is especially important because AT&T deleted the tweet not even an hour later. So I don't know if it was an intern who just tweeted out support for release the air cut, again, David Ayer's Suicide Squad cut, or AT&T might have accidentally tipped their hand and might be investing into the air cut but keeping it a secret. Believe what you want to believe, but I thought that was pretty interesting. Also, speaking of campaigns and trending events, the upcoming Restore to Snyderverse campaign just had a new update. What you're seeing on your screen are trucks with LED screens on them, and those screens are going to display this message.
Restore the Snyderverse. I would give him money every 2 years. Go make something for HBO Max.
Restore the Snyderverse.
And all of the Snyderverse shall be yours.
That's right. We're doing it again. We're sending a message to Warner Brothers that people want to see a continuation of Zack Snyder's Justice League. We understand you're trying to do some DC things along the lines of Marvel because you like the fun, lighter, friendly tone, but people are responding to Zack Snyder's Justice League in a positive manner. And we, the fans, are once again going to pick up the mantle and march and hopefully convince Warner Brothers to do the unthinkable yet again. So these trucks on April 21st, 3 days from now, will be sent to different locations, a total of 4 trucks. One of them is going to the New York Warner Media headquarters. Another one is going to Burbank. And then 2 more are going to Dallas. And Dallas is where the AT&T headquarters lie. And so we hope to catch their attention. The trucks will be en route from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., literally driving a designated route for 8 hours, spreading the message, hopefully catching the attention of the executives, and doing us fans doing more than just tweeting and hashtagging, putting our money where our mouth is. At the end of the day, all we hope to see is more of this. I mean, who wouldn't want to see more of this, honestly? Coming off of Zack Snyder's Justice League. I certainly would. And I hope you would too. So remember, on April 21st, check Twitter because these guys are going to be out doing their thing, and I'm sure it's going to be talked about. Elsewhere, finally, Black Adam has started production.
Ooh, yeah.
Keith, you know as well as I do, this movie has been a long time coming.
Yes.
Seriously. Dwayne Johnson announced he was playing Black Adam back in 2014. Now, to put it in perspective, here are some things that I noted down about 2014, okay? Just to give you an idea of how long it's been. Back in 2014, I was still drinking Fireball cinnamon whiskey. Today, that stuff is disgusting. I don't know how people drink Fireball. Ugh. It's not a good whiskey. Also, in 2014, Steph Curry from the Warriors, one of the most popular NBA players, didn't have his first ring yet, had 0 rings. Also, during the time Dwayne Johnson announced Black Adam, Obama was still president. Also, during the time Dwayne Johnson announced Black Adam, the Ice Bucket Challenge was a thing. And Andrew Garfield was still Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's how long we've been waiting for this movie. And we've been told for years, I've been told for years that it's not happening. It's not happening. Dwayne Johnson doesn't want anything to do with DC. Well, you know what? We finally got something that was announced and is actually coming true. Out of all the projects that Warner Brothers announced, a Deadshot movie, a Mad Love Harley Quinn Joker movie, Ben Affleck's Batman movie, etc., etc., this is the one that I've been holding out on, and they finally just wrapped their first week of production. So Black Adam is on the way. A couple more things. What you're looking at on your screen right now is concept art of what Zack Snyder wanted to do with Green Lantern in his Snyder Cut. The original plan was to have Kilowog, who you're seeing on the left side of your screen, and a Green Lantern called Tomar Ray, who you'll probably remember. He was the Fish Green Lantern and Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern. Those two were originally supposed to show up at the end to tell Ben Affleck's Batman, Bruce Wayne, that a threat is on the way. Of course, Warner Brothers decided Zach, we don't want you doing anything with Green Lantern. You cannot have any Green Lanterns whatsoever in your movie. As we know, Zack Snyder fought and was able to have a brief appearance of the Green Lantern Yalan Gur, who fought during the Age of Heroes sequence. But this was originally what Zack wanted to do, and these concept arts that you're looking at are for real. They are legit. But in case you didn't know, here's a fun fact. You see that Green Lantern on your right? That's John Stewart.
Yeah.
That's who Zack Snyder wanted to put in the movie. When he got a chance to finally do the Snyder cut, he absolutely wanted to have John Stewart's Green Lantern. And we got confirmation this past weekend that the actor who was going to play John Stewart, Zack Snyder's John Stewart, is a gentleman named Wayne T. Carr. Wayne T. Carr is a name I haven't heard of before this, and that's because he doesn't have any acting credentials. He is, in fact, a teacher, I believe, for a theater school or a film school. I'm a little bit cloudy on that. But that was going to be John Stewart in Zack Snyder's Justice League. It never got to see the day of light, but pretty cool to think about what could have been. Also, a couple casting announcements. Excuse me. Lucy Liu is now in Shazam: Fury of the Gods. She is playing Calypso, who is also the daughter of Atlas, and I believe the sister of Helen Mirren's Hespera character. So she will be playing one of the gods. You see the title Fury of the Gods. She's going to be one of the villains. Also, not sure if you guys remember this guy from Game of Thrones. He was an a-hole. Euron Greyjoy. He has joined the cast for Aquaman 2. The role is not specified, but I mean, look at him. I see villain, bad guy, henchman, whatever. I think it'd be. I think it's a cool casting and one that, it makes sense to have somebody who's just as intense, like an on-screen presence as Jason Momoa. I can't wait to see the two of them interact. Lastly, a certain Batmobile was spotted this week on the set of the Flash movie. And anyone who's familiar with these comics can tell right away that's Michael Keaton's Batmobile.
Yeah.
The Flash just started production for a 2022 release, and this confirms that Michael Keaton's Batman will in fact be a part of that movie. Pretty awesome. Keith, do you have any thoughts on any of this stuff that I just ran down?
Well, at least the Tim Burton Batmobile's in that movie. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
Based on I don't know. Michael Keaton still, we're still waiting on actual confirmation. But I mean, it seems like it though, right? I mean, I don't know. I know he had his concerns about production and as far as safety and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know, maybe I don't know. They're working that out. I'm sure. I'm sure if you pay him enough, he'll show up. So.
I'm thinking Star Drew. It is the Returns, Batman Returns.
Batman Returns, yeah.
Yeah, I think it will for sure be that one.
Yeah.
Oh, here's another cool, fun thing that I forgot to show right here. This is David Sandberg's reaction to getting Lucy Liu for his movie.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty funny, man. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty clever, David Sandberg. Admittedly, Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren joined the cast of Shazam 2. Gets me more excited for the movie. I won't lie. I mean, it wasn't my favorite DCEU movie. It was okay. I enjoyed it, but I just thought it was a little too kid friendly, you know, and that's fine.
Oh,
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a personal taste for me.
well, yeah. Well, the character's a kid, so they kind of approach it. I think from the
Yeah.
you got kids kind of leading the him and his stepbrother and kind of leading that or adopted brother, kind of telling the story from their viewpoint. So I really enjoyed it, but yeah, I love Lucy Liu, big Lucy Liu fan. I'm a big Tarantino guy, and I love her character Oren Ishii in Kill Bill. Plays as assassin and a queen of the underworld over there in Tokyo. So she comes to the head of the Yakuza out there, and
Dude,
she's really great.
I've missed her. I don't know
I
where
know.
she's been.
Well, she's on that show Elementary, where she plays Watson.
Yeah,
On that modern Sherlock Holmes show. I think it's on CBS. I think.
but she's not getting as many roles.
Like movies, yeah, I agree.
She was a hot commodity in the early 2000s
Absolutely.
and mid 2000s, and
she can do that. Look, she can do action. She can do comedy. She's really funny. She's great. I don't know. I agree. It's weird how little of her we've seen. But
yeah.
Glad she's in this. That was big news.
Any thoughts on these guys?
Well, I don't know what they're. Obviously, they know they mucked up with Green Lantern, the movie. So I don't know what, but they're being so precious with the Green Lantern property. I don't understand why they're just. It's not a big deal. Just let him have that just for that one scene. It could have been any Lantern. It didn't have to be. Obviously, it was never going to be Hal Jordan, probably. But it could have been just literally anyone else. I mean, and I guess they're being equally as tight with Jon Stewart as well. So I don't know. I don't see what the problem is.
I don't know. They
haven't. Like, I know they announced that it's a show, right? Is it a HBO Max show?
Yeah, Green Lantern Corps.
Like, are they actually doing it, or is it still kind of?
Well, last I read, it's supposed to begin production this month.
Oh, okay.
And that was according to TV and movie film industry, some website. I didn't read too much into it because it's like we haven't heard any casting news yet.
Right.
No directors. We have writers, Greg Berlanti from the Arrowverse, who did Arrow, Flash, and all the CW shows.
Yeah.
So that's promising, but
still
they seem to be so. Warner Brothers seems to be like have no confidence in Zack Snyder, despite the Snyder Cut being better than people thought, despite his Army of the Dead movie coming out and that having a lot of hype. It's just like, I don't know, the way they're treating him, it's like it's so disrespectful. They make it seem like he was the fall guy, and he was the fall guy. They make it seem like he was solely the reason why this universe did not work. And we've had these conversations before. Warner Brothers, they shot themselves in the foot. I mean, Chris Terrio, in that article that we talked about, he said, "You take 30 minutes out of my script. Do you know what that's going to do for the movie?" And look how Batman v Superman, the theatrical version, turned out. It was destroyed by critics, by fans, general audience members. And then, yes, Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition, for several people, it doesn't make it like a great movie, but adding those 30 minutes into that movie did so much for the plot.
It did.
Yeah. And
it just flowed away with streamlined a whole lot better, flowed a lot better. The editing was less crazy and just anyway, but yeah, definitely. So yeah, I don't know what they're worried about, what he'll do to their precious Green Lantern property. I mean, he just wants to use this one character for this one scene. That's it. If they had no plans to continue on with this universe, then what's the big deal? Let him do it. Like, I don't.
Especially if it's something that they consider not canon, because
Yeah, that's
Warner
what I
Bros.
mean.
has said, that crappy 2017 Justice League movie, that's the movie that's going to be in our canon that we
Yeah.
will acknowledge. This Zack Snyder's Justice League, that's miles better. Nah, that's like an Elseworld thing. That's going to go nowhere. Well, if
Yeah.
it's going to go nowhere, what's the
Then-
problem with having Zack go out with a bang and use his Green Lantern? I mean,
Yeah.
look at the concept art
It's
right there.
cool.
That's
Yeah, right.
amazing. That looks miles better than the 2011 CGI crap fest that was Green Lantern's Ryan Reynolds suit. This looks amazing,
Yeah, it
man.
was very cool. I like the Jon Stewart suit with all
And
the
the
black
fact that he
hair.
used
Yeah.
an unknown actor, somebody with little to no credentials.
Sure.
His
Yeah, they're
again,
big.
his name is Wayne T. Carr.
Yeah. Just
What
for that
that
one
could have
scene.
what that could have done to his career and his Hollywood career, and again expanding opportunity to others. Like, what blockbuster director picks an actor with zero credentials? It's like
Yeah.
unheard of. You need that bankable star to give the studio confidence to give you money to, and by money I mean like hundreds of millions of dollars to produce these blockbuster epics. It's
Mhm.
just Hollywood's a real, like, and this is coming from a consumer. I'm not going to pretend like I've been in the industry, but from what I read from all the trades, Variety, Hollywood Reporter,
Mm.
these filmmakers, their interviews, it's just like, man, like, wow, what a battle.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's why they say the fact that a movie makes it onto the theater big screen is an accomplishment in itself,
Oh, yeah.
because of the amount of hours and effort and blood, sweat, and tears and money poured into this 2 hour thing that's meant to just, well, depending on who you are, it's just something to entertain you, or it's something for you to dissect for the next couple years of your life with friends online on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot.
But
Yeah.
hey, hopefully, if this is it for Zack Snyder, hey, he has Army of the Dead coming out. And speaking of that, Keith, I don't think you got to share your thoughts too much on Apocalypse this past
No.
Tuesday. Do you have anything you want to say about Army of the Dead? What you thought?
Yeah, that's cool. Looks pretty cool. Let's see Dave Bautista getting the spotlight here, which is really cool. I'm excited for him. It looks crazy. Looks like madness, like big old bright video game type madness. But it looks cool though. Like I said, I'm tired of zombies in everything, in movies and TV shows and video games. But I will see this. It actually looks like fun. I like the zombie tiger at the end. That was pretty funny.
The zombie tiger.
That looked pretty cool.
The
And it
name
looks
of the tiger's name is Valentine.
oh, okay. That's funny. So yeah, this looks
Crazy.
good. Looks like fun. Yeah. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to this movie. Obviously, I mean, Zack Snyder's my guy, and Junkie XL will be scoring it.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, I mean, we saw in the trailer, like, we saw Dave Bautista, do some dramatic chops.
Yeah.
When he's looking at his medal and he's crying, I'm just like, ooh, this is going to be a little bit more than just your throwaway action flick. And they're trying
Oh,
to
yeah.
set up a whole universe. There's a prequel coming out called Army of Thieves, and it's supposed to touch on, like, I mean, in a World War Z sense, like elsewhere, what else is going on.
Yeah.
And then you have another animated prequel called Lost Vegas. And that animation is done by a guy named Jay Olivia. Jay Olivia did Flashpoint Paradox, the
Ooh, the
animated
movie?
movie,
Yeah, that's
as
really
well
good.
as the Green Lantern Emerald Knights as well,
Okay.
and the Dark Knight Returns. So they got a serious guy to do that, and it looks like they're really trying to build this zombie universe.
Yeah.
The
Cool.
Magic Zombie Tiger from Secret
Secret
and Roy.
Yeah, right.
Well, I was gonna say, all right, interesting. Two things. I was gonna say before this weekend, hey, is that Mike Tyson's tiger from the
From
Hangover?
Hangover, yeah.
But and I still need to look into this. But this weekend, Deborah Snyder, who's Zack Snyder's wife and a producer on the movie,
Hmm.
I believe she mentioned that it's Carol Baskin's tiger.
No way, really?
I need to double check that, but I saw that all over Twitter, and I was like,
Really?
Carol
Wow.
Baskins' tiger? Wow.
Well,
Like, imagine
right.
if, like, in the movie, they're like, wait a minute, I've seen that tiger from somewhere,
Yeah.
Just like, I think that'd be too corny, but, hey.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
What if it's a trained? So that's our tiger. So are they saying that in real life or just in the movie? They're saying.
In the movie.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant it's her tiger in real life, like one of the tigers from.
Well, I mean, actually,
Because if it's a trained, like a trained, it's possible. But usually they have those trained animals, and surely maybe some of those tigers are probably movie or TV tigers, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Or
I was thinking something like, how the Jungle Book and how all their animals are CGI, and
that's what I was imagining, but
yeah, that's why I can't imagine Carol Baskins would loan a movie production
for the money though, if they're paying enough, that's why I was asking. I wonder if
I mean, she did do Dancing with the Stars.
you're
Like,
right. I don't know.
oh, wait a minute. Okay, I'm seeing here now. Hold on. Let me share this real quick. Let's do this right now. You ready, Star Drew? Here we go. This is what we're gonna do. Let's hear from the lady herself, Miss Deborah Snyder. And hold on.
Valentine is based on a real tiger. And our visual effects people called a lot of animal sanctuaries to see if they could, video a tiger as reference. And can you guess whose tiger Valentine?
Carol Baskin.
Yes!
I knew it.
And by the way, it was before Tiger King came out. So it was kind of wild. And I remember Marcus, our visual effects supervisor, spent some time, like a week down there. We're like, well, at least you got out alive. Valentine is based on a real tiger.
Wow. And this was before Tiger King.
Yeah, it would have been right, because
well, yeah, she said it's before Tiger King. So they didn't bring Carol Baskins as Tiger onto set, especially during the pandemic. But what they did was they photographed the tiger and used it. So in a sense,
referencing.
Wait a minute. Are we going to see Carol Baskins' name in the credits?
Well, I don't know. Does their zoo or whatever it is that have a name? They'll probably just do that.
Oh my god! Yeah, better. I don't
Thanks
know.
It'll be right at the end of the credits. Thanks to Carol Baskin.
Hey, what if she sends a Blu-ray to Tiger King in prison?
She get it.
No,
Yeah.
She doesn't. She doesn't say who it's from. She just says, "I'm a great fan. Watch it." Tiger King's watching it, and then it gets to the credits. He's like, "I really love that movie," and then he sees Carol Baskins. He's like, "God,
what?" Does she get an advanced copy? Wouldn't they give her an advanced copy because they have her tiger in there? She get like an advanced screener of Army of the Dead for everybody else.
Man, if this weren't in a pandemic and if this movie had a theatrical release, she'd probably be like, "I want to be invited to the red carpet."
Yeah, she'd be at the premiere. Absolutely.
Here we go. Here's Star Drew right here. The Netflix Tiger King, okay, that also makes sense. I just didn't see it. Yeah, I didn't even think about it until, like I said, I was like, is that Mike Tyson's tiger? Maybe. Carol Baskin didn't even come to mind, you
Yeah,
know.
right.
Now, had this been exactly 1 year ago from today, when Tiger King was popping, and
Oh, this would have been the
yeah, it would have been like, no,
yeah.
yeah. But man, that's a fun fact, dude. I didn't know that
That's
at
pretty
all.
funny. Yeah.
But I'm glad Zack Snyder is, doing good things over at Netflix.
Yeah.
Everything I've been reading for the past 2 weeks about Warner Brothers, from Ray Fisher, from Zack Snyder, from Chris Terrio, it's troubling. As much as I can do the partake in these campaigns, to try and restore the Snyderverse.
Hmm.
If the Snyderverse didn't continue on HBO Max, the silver lining is that Zack Snyder doesn't have to put up with Warner Brothers anymore and their crap, because it seems like he's having a lot of fun with Netflix. And you know what?
Sure.
He's not the only one that is feeling that way. Ray Fisher has been very much on the record since last July, when he first retracted what he said about Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
And over the past months, over the next couple of months, going back to last year, July of last year, he got a lot of hate online.
Yeah.
A lot of hate because he wouldn't just come out and say what he knew, or
Right.
wouldn't just talk about it in detail. And what I try to make people understand is that when you're an actor like Ray Fisher, first off, he's not Denzel, okay? He doesn't have all the pull and power in Hollywood. He is somebody who was given a chance to make a character like Cyborg very real, very relevant, and whatnot. And what the 2017 Justice League did was, what did Chris Terrio say? It was complete vandalism of what they were doing. So for Ray Fisher to receive so much hate and then finally come out in a very calculated manner and spill the beans on what happened behind the scenes. I know you read the article this past week, the articles, plural, I should say. What do you think about the whole Ray Fisher Warner Brothers thing?
What a mess. What a mess. And it's frustrating. Like you said, he's not an established guy yet. He's just getting his first big break here. Or supposed to be his first big break. And I'm sure it's just quite disappointing to, go from
NDA.
Yeah, exactly right.
NDAs, yep.
Well, apparently they're saying he didn't have it. There was no NDA for him. He could have spoken about this, but that's the point.
That's one element, but still, I mean, I commend him for how he went about it.
That's what I was just about to say. The fact that he didn't, he chose to, he said he had witnesses and stuff. He didn't give any names because he didn't want them to put them in a position.
He's protecting their careers,
right? And if they choose to speak, that's up to them. He didn't mention, anybody else but listen, for all the people that immediately jumped on him and said, no, this isn't the way. It's not the way to go about it. And here, listen, you got Charisma Carpenter spoke about her experience working with Joss Whedon, and a number of other stories have come out since then about him and his, and so it just frustrates me that to go back to Ray Fisher really quick, he's not just a guy trying to make a name for himself. He's not trying to be anything. There's some people, clowns like Andy Signore on Twitter, trying to go back and forth with him, and he's not trying to do anything. He's not looking for. This isn't the way he wants to be. He doesn't want to be known for any of this. The guy wants to act. He's an actor. He's a theater guy, right? Kind of a stage performer, right? And so he's a real actor. Yeah, trying to, and he wants to. He's getting his big break. He wants to be known for what he does, his craft. He wants to be given a chance to actually show what he can do.
Right.
And Zack Snyder gave him that chance. They were going to center this movie he was going to be the heart and soul of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, unfortunate stuff happened, and everyone knows the story. Obviously, Snyder left, or they chose either he left or they chose not to. I don't know, but
Well, as far as Zack Snyder,
yeah, I mean,
he left.
He left.
He left.
But-
Well, yeah, he didn't have. He said in one of his interviews that he didn't have the fight anymore.
Sure.
His family needed him at home because
Absolutely.
the passing of Autumn Snyder, and he's just like, I just, my family needs me. I don't need this shit.
Which I'm sure it's just, and I don't know him. I don't want to speak too much on his situation. I'm sure that's just devastating for him to know he's, putting all this time and effort into making these silly movies, and his poor daughter was going through, and I'm sure he beats himself. He's probably beating himself up for that a little bit, but I would be. I'd be having a hard time as well.
Mhm.
Thinking, man, I should have been there, but that's hopefully they work through that. But well, the fact is, though, I don't know fact, but it seems like they didn't want to let him finish. They wanted to finish that movie instead of just putting it on pause for him, and it just turned into a whole mess, man. And just Joss Whedon comes in probably with his very inflated ego, which he kind of earned a little bit. Obviously, he directed 2 massive blockbusters with the 2 Avengers movies, and he's got his credits from TV or whatever, which so much of Hollywood is all ego with a lot of these guys, directors like that and executives and stuff. And so just the fact that he's not willing to sit down and listen to this guy, Ray Fisher, who he probably wasn't familiar with at all, but just, I don't know, just the way they came in and just reading about it. I mean, everything, they just, Terrio called it vandalism. I mean, absolutely. It just sounded like just a mess from all directions, from all facets of the situation. And I don't know. As far as Fisher goes, what can he do? He tried to speak to people, he wasn't heard. He went up to other people, he wasn't heard, or it just wasn't being addressed the way it probably should have been. And I don't know, what more could he do? I don't know. He kept his peace, kept his cool for a long time, and he felt compelled with everything that happened last year. I mean, he felt compelled with Black Lives Matter and all the protests and all the stuff happened. He felt compelled to speak out, and he did. And it's upsetting to me that people just still want to kind of be dismissive of it. Well, let's hear all the facts. So we don't know why it's trying to ruin Joss Whedon's career. It's not ruining anybody's career, man. He's speaking his truth, speaking his situation, about his experience, why it was bad for him, and it speaks to a lot. It's happened all throughout Hollywood, the history of Hollywood, with Black and a lot of actors of color, especially with Black actors. And it's just frustrating to hear. It really is. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts, man? What do you think?
Well, I'll say this, okay? Like, those out there who, like to bring up, oh, let's wait for all the facts. Okay, let's look at the facts that we have so far, right? We got the director, Zack Snyder, coming out and speaking about the troubles that happened, acknowledging it. Deborah Snyder, the producer, as well. Chris Terrio, the writer.
Right.
Fabian Wagner, the cinematographer. Ray Fisher, Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa,
yeah.
Ben Affleck, although he very subtly found a way to say it. If you watch his most recent interview where he goes through all the roles that he did in his film career. I think he did it with GQ, like revisiting his famous roles. He talks about Batman v Superman and Justice League.
Okay.
Right there. 8 people plus however many witnesses.
Yeah.
At what point do you say, okay, not maybe, something's definitely going on here?
Clearly.
And you think a trade reporter like the Hollywood Reporter would write this article lightly? No, they're
Yeah.
doing their due
Speaking out against
diligence.
Warner Brothers is one of the big original. Like they've been around for 100 years, man. They're so this is a big. Yeah, you're right. They wouldn't go at this.
Yeah,
like you said, lightly.
I mean, this is not something that trades like Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Empire. This is not something that they write lightly just to get a headline grabber.
Exactly.
Okay, these guys, they do their research and they look at their they go to their sources and they say, is there something here or not? Clearly something
There
is
absolutely
here.
is. Yeah.
And so it's just if you want to say, oh, let's wait for the facts and this and that, or let's wait for the other side to say something about this. Why would the other side say something about this?
Yeah.
Why would
What are they
Warner
going to
Brothers
say?
come out and talk
What do you expect
about
them to say? Like the other side's going to say either they're not going to say anything, or they're going to say that's not true, or they're going to say that's not they're just going to speak from their perspective. Hopefully, or it would just be nice to. I'm curious to hear what Whedon and or Jeff Johns would have to say. I know Jeff Johns has spoken a little bit, right? And didn't he have some rebuttal a little bit to some of the stuff?
his I forgot, a spokesperson came out and said that he is somebody who cares a lot about Cyborg and people of color and just a whole bunch of stuff. It's in this article that you guys can read. His spokesperson comes out and does the PR stuff to defend him and whatnot, but it's like the writing's on the wall.
Yeah, man.
You could clearly see that. I mean, look at this part right here. It's like from this is something that Hollywood Reporter took a quote from Ray Fisher, and they don't put this in their article unless there's some weight behind it.
Right.
It says Joss was bragging that he had it out with Gal. He told her he's the writer and she's going to shut up and say the lines, and he can make her look incredibly stupid in this movie.
Yeah.
It's just, man, dude, there's just so much behind the scenes that, like, oh, here's Jeff Johns' spokesperson coming out and saying Jeff celebrates and supports LGBTQ characters, including Batman, who in 2006 was reintroduced as a LGBTQ in a comic book series written by Johns. Johns also pitched to developing a show around LGBT leading superheroes he had. And, the rep says John believed fans expected the character. Oh, he's talking about Superman's grandfather in Krypton. Basically, the Krypton writers said that, they had this idea about introducing a person of color to be Henry Cavill's grandfather.
Yeah.
Because Krypton on Sci-Fi was supposed to be a prequel to Man of Steel initially. And one of the writers said, I haven't spoken to Jeff Johns since the day on Krypton when he tried to tell me what is and is not a black thing.
Yeah.
And she continues, I said, black women, we tend to change our hair frequently. It's not weird. It's a black thing. And he said, no, it's not.
There you go.
It's just
it's stuff like that, and that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And this isn't new. If you pay attention, there's a lot of this in Hollywood. The Krypton thing, right? Like the Kryptonians are, and it was supposed to be. See, I didn't know that it was going to be supposed to initially be a prequel to Man of Steel, but that universe. There's no reason he couldn't have been black, right? The Kryptonians are grown out of a thing. What do they call it?
Not the Codex, but the
Codex. No, the Codex. Yes,
the Codex.
Codex. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, he could have been black. It could have been anything. So that shouldn't have been a problem. But whatever. But yeah, that kind of thing. That's what I'm talking about. It's like it's not a surprise. Listen, and as far to relate this back to Ray Fisher here, and all of this is why. diversity and representation behind the scenes matters. Because when you get someone who's trying to tell you, well, this is not a thing that, we would say, like the whole booyah thing, which is like, yeah, he didn't want to say that because for him, it didn't make sense that this character would have a quippy little catchphrase. I'm here. He was comparing it to, let me pull it up. Sorry. Now he compared it to in Different Strokes with Gary Coleman's "What You Talking About, Willis?"
Yeah.
Or J.J. Evans' "Dynamite" and Good Times. He's like, I don't want to say that. Like, that's not, and that's fine. I get that. That's the thing that the character on the animated series says. There's no other version of Cyborg really says that, and so I get why he didn't want to say that. And it's what you get when you get, white writers trying to make a thing for black characters, trying to write for black characters. That's exactly why it can be problematic sometimes. There's an episode of, this reminded me of, there's an episode of Arrow, okay, and it happens to be another DC thing, and I was wondering if Jeff Johns, he's not really involved in the Arrowverse, is he? Not necessarily. I know it's more Berlanti. Is he really?
He's producing Superman and Lois.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. But it's mostly a Berlanti thing, right? It's like kind of it's all his stuff for the most part. But
yeah, it's his universe.
Yeah. But either way, there's an episode in season 2 of Arrow. Episode's called The Crucible. I think it's episode 4, where Oliver is battling a character called. It's absolutely. Oliver's battling a character called the Mayor, who was bringing these illegal guns into the city. And of course, if you watch that episode, it is just, I looked at it, it's both written by 2 white writers, but I remember watching it at the time, and I rewatched some of it today, and I'm just like, ugh, this is, and the character called the Mayor, he's black, and he's this gang leader, and they're all gangsters, characters with the hats all dipped backwards or turned to the side or whatever, and the way they talk is just like, I remember watching it at the time and thinking this is terrible, and I watched it again and I'm like, this is absolutely not, this was written by white people. Like, you can just tell, saying stuff that using slang and terms that just not only from years ago that we don't say anymore, and like, people don't talk like this, like, I don't know, it was frustrating to watch. So there's so much of that, right? And so Fisher just kind of pushed back in terms of this story. Fisher pushed back against it, and Whedon, whether it was with him, and like I say, we saw it with Gal Gadot. I'm not sure of the Jason Momoa stuff, but he seemed to be a bit of a problematic guy to work with, and I'm sure there's certain instances where he's. Like, I can't speak for, I don't know, I don't remember hearing anything really from like the sets of Avengers, but I don't know, but it frustrates me as far as Fisher, though, that people are so dismissive of it, both obviously for his situation, the executives and everybody he tried to talk to about all this stuff were so dismissive of him, and then when the story comes out, so many people online being so dismissive of it. And look, it doesn't hurt. Like, the thing we're learning, like, just listen to a person, tell his experience, tell his piece. And obviously, if he went through had a problematic experience, which shouldn't have been, let's hear what he has to say about it and see what we can do to correct it, instead of being so quick to defend or jump to the defense of someone else, or let's hear the other side, or or that's not the way to go about it, the way he did it. Like, what way do you want him to do it? Right? Like, that's a frustrating thing for me. Like, well, he's going about it the wrong way. And I'm just like, there's no way that's going to be good for anyone. If that's the case, you're not going to be good about it anyway that he chooses to speak of. He didn't come out and badmouth anyone or speak ill of anyone. He can't eat, but I don't know. He spoke his truth. He's speaking his truth, and it needs to be heard because this type of stuff needs to change.
I'm gonna read something from Jason Momoa, and this is back in September of last year, September 14, 2020. He says, "This shit has to stop. It needs to be looked at. Ray Fisher and everyone else who experienced what happened under the watch of Warner Brothers needs proper investigation.
Mm.
I just think it's effed up that people released a fake Frosty announcement without my permission to try and distract from Ray Fisher speaking up about the shitty way we were treated on Justice League reshoots. Serious stuff went down. It needs to be investigated, and people need to be held accountable. I stand with Ray Fisher. Aloha, Jay.
There you go. Right.
Hey,
so
look, unless Ray Fisher, Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, Ben Affleck, Chris Terrio, Zack Snyder, Deborah Snyder, Fabian Wagner are all lying.
Charisma Carpenter,
Charisma Carpenter. Yeah.
They all
Unless
decided to
we're
just
all-
make it up and ruin Joss Whedon's career.
The Krypton sci-fi show writer.
Yeah.
They're all lying. No, come on, guys. Like it's beyond this, okay? And it's not. Ray Fisher is not trying to cancel people.
No.
He wants to make sure that this does not happen again in
To
Hollywood.
anyone. Yes.
And if it means giving up a role like Cyborg for a studio that thinks Justice League 2017 is better than Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut, then you know what? Good luck.
Yeah.
You know what Warner Brothers' problem is? And I've talked about this. And they try too hard to be like Marvel. And that's a strategy for failure. Here's the thing. Okay, Marvel has a proven successful formula. Let me start by saying that Marvel has a proven success. No, it's no denying. They did several phases, several team up movies. Say what you will about them, and how your personal taste, but critically, they're a success.
Yeah.
Box office wise, they are a success. And what DC is trying to do is be like Marvel. Here's the thing. If you be like Marvel, people are going to look at you and be like, oh, you're trying to be a copycat. You're trying to copy Marvel. Why not be your own thing? And then when they try and do their own thing, they don't put faith into their filmmakers. They said, you know what? I know we agreed. We shook hands. We signed something that said you can make your movie. But the latest Thor movie just made $1 billion, and we want that. So hey, David Ayer, we know you. David Ayer, known for End of Watch Fury. We know you're making this dark and grounded Suicide Squad movie.
Training Day.
We want to lighten it up, okay? So we're gonna give it to this music trailer video company, and But the problem what I'm getting to is that if Warner Brothers tries to be like Marvel, they're gonna be playing catch up forever. They're gonna be behind the curve so much.
I think Marvel just had a plan. All right, they started this thing back in 2006 when they started Marvel Studios, and they had a plan mapped out for years of how they wanted to roll this out. A lot of it depended on they took it one step at a time, though. Instead of, you're right, they're trying to see. It seems like WB was trying to do it all at once. Marvel had this thing planned out for years, and it depended on how successful Iron Man was going to be. And then each movie going forward after that, and they figured out that obviously what they're doing worked. But Kevin Feige at Marvel Studios, he's a filmmaker's producer, right? Like he's a filmmaker friendly producer, right? Like even though they've had their issues too. Like they've had directors come and go, or people drop out, or
Edgar Wright.
So hold on, sorry, I froze for a second. Okay. So they've had some issues here and there too, but you're right. For the most part, their track record has been proven, and their movies are, at worst, they're okay, right? Like they've got a couple that are just, not as great as others, and some of them are at least pretty good. Most of them are at least pretty good. And so in that sense, yeah, I see what you're saying. Like WB, DC trying to do that, I think, all too soon, instead of just taking it a little bit at a time, map it out. If you want Snyder to be the guy to do this, let him do it, and get directors not like it. But again, it's hard to say, because again, Whedon was over there with Marvel, and he did a couple of movies, and we didn't necessarily hear about any of this type of stuff. That doesn't mean it wasn't there.
Maybe it's a different story if those movies weren't a success financially and critically.
You might be right. Because listen, critics, the reaction to Age of Ultron was kind of mixed, even though it made a lot of money. And then we hear about how exhausted he was. He nearly, I don't know, broke down or whatever he said, trying to make that movie or whatever. And so you might be right. You might be absolutely right about that. But again, listen, Buffy was 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and we're hearing obviously Charisma Carpenter spoke out about her experience on that show, and I'm sure she's not the only one. A lot of the actors, well, not a lot, but some people from that show spoke out and supported her, including Sarah Michelle Gellar, who came out and spoke her. So she didn't get into specifics herself, but she did say she did support Charisma Carpenter and what happened with her on that show. So, now, like I said, a lot of it is ego. There's a lot of guys like this, and it's not about trying to. That's another take that I can't stand. Is why you want to mess up his career? Like, no one's trying to mess up his career. Number one, he needs to not be a dickhead.
Yeah, he's doing that himself.
He's doing it himself, right? So just
don't blame Ray Fisher.
The very first, I'm talking about when I was at orientation at film school. I mean, the first day when I went to film school back in 2014, the program director said, his rule was, do good work, be good to work with. All right. So that means don't be walking around set like you're the cock of the walk, no matter what you do, just don't be a jerk on set. Right. And there's no reason for that. There's a lot of directors that are like that. You're not them. All right. We know James Cameron is one of the most difficult people in the world to work with as a director. He clashes with so many people, but his movies do make a lot of money. But also, and listen, you're not James Cameron. There you go. There you go. I'm going to have to read that. That's interesting.
Yep, this is another thing that he said, and his quote was, one of the things that I will say so far is our experience in the creation of this. Josh brought a lot of personal and professional, for lack of a better term, resentment into the Justice League process. One of the things that he had said in our first conversations was that people didn't get quote unquote Age of Ultron. And there were certain things being said in that conversation where I was like, oh, this is less about the work being presented and more sort of like an ego stroke to say, well, look, if you like it in this movie, you should have liked it in that one.
That's interesting.
Ha ha ha. Jokes on you. And that's just creatively, that has nothing to do with any of the really egregious stuff that's on a creative level. It just shows you. And so you were on point as far as, Joss Whedon. He took, because, I mean, everyone here can admit it. Everyone who's watching right now, everyone's watching on playback can admit Age of Ultron, look, as fun and entertaining as it was a step down from the first Avengers movie.
Absolutely.
And you can clearly see Joss Whedon taking that to heart and being like, do you know how hard I worked on Age of Ultron? I was on one leg and I was exhausted. I mean, go back to the interviews that Joss Whedon did for Age of Ultron. He's exhausted.
He looks so defeated. I remember that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so look, believe what you want to believe about what Ray Fisher is saying, but the shoe fits. Okay, the writing's on the wall.
Absolutely.
You think about, remember in the Justice League theatrical version when Flash is running and then he falls on Wonder Woman's chest? Where have we seen that from before?
The exact same thing in Age of Ultron. The exact same thing at that party scene when the Ultrons attack. And he clearly just took notes from Age of Ultron and brought it into Justice League. Look, that was a tough job to take on. He should have taken that job. But that was a tough task. That's
exactly where I was going to go. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a tough thing to kind of get this movie in that short amount of time to finish what Snyder was starting. And it sounded as though Fisher was like saying like they were going to just pick it up and just finish out what Snyder was doing. And he just went in and just went, no, we're scrapping all this. I'm doing this my way. And yeah, I don't know how much prep time he had to look at everything and look at what Snyder was doing. And clearly he didn't look at any of it. He just went, no, I want to do it my way. And I don't know. You see the results. I mean, it's right there. So
the last thing I'll say about Joss Whedon, I'll end on this note. And to your point, he should have never taken this.
Yeah.
For one, Warner Brothers had no interest in pushing the movie back.
Yeah.
And it's really messed up. It shows how much they prioritize, getting a a quick check, a quick payday, and we've seen other studios give directors better treatment. You remember when Paul Walker tragically passed away?
Yeah.
What did they do with Furious 7? Did they keep to their release date and keep it
Oh
on
my
schedule?
gosh, absolutely not. That was
They pushed it back. I want to say
year. Wasn't it a year?
Yeah. Or it might have been 8 months, but yeah, around that time, to give everyone, the whole entire cast, a chance to grieve, to just be with their families, and then come back together and make the right movie. And what happened?
Out what to do? Yeah, right.
Furious 7 made $1.5 billion at the box office.
Right.
It was a huge hit, the biggest one, because the studio said, you know what? We need to take a moment, okay? Our actors might be actors, actresses, our directors might be filmmakers, but they're people.
People, right.
They are people. And had Warner Brothers allowed, and again, this is when they were being very reactionary. They had zero confidence after Batman v Superman, even though they gutted that movie. They had no confidence. They said, nope, like, we respect you, Zach, even though our actions contradict that. But this is what we're doing. And it's like, look at that. Karma came back. It came back full circle. The Snyder Cut released somehow, and it makes that 2017 Justice League movie look like garbage. Yeah, just for lack of a better, term.
And by all accounts, Snyder is a wonderful guy. Like, people really love him, love working with him. I've never heard anything bad about him. As a person, right? I know. Listen, I'm one of the few people. I'm one of the few people that actually doesn't mind Sucker Punch. Okay, I don't mind that movie. It's weird. The story is a little bit, it's a weird movie, but I think it looks really cool. I didn't mind it, but now it seems like he's a great guy. Like, everyone really seems to really like him. And to go, it must have been just what a contrast to go from that to Whedon, who is whatever he is. I don't know, but just, hey, it's Ray Fisher, April, September from the right. Okay. So about 7 months, I guess.
Yeah,
something like that. 7, 8 months.
Hey, that made a difference.
All the better for it. Yeah. Because that was a big, and they took time to really figure out what to do, and I know they used his brothers for some scenes, and
they took their time with the CGI, the visual effects.
Yeah. Like, if you're really looking, you can see, but you can't
obviously at the end when Paul Walker's, or when the stand-in is looking at Vin Diesel saying he thought you could leave without saying goodbye.
Yeah,
you could clearly see that that's not Paul Walker, but still,
it's a nice moment though, and it worked.
Yeah. I mean, you watch that end scene where they're driving off, and you still get emotional. You don't look at it and go,
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I hadn't seen it in a while. I just saw a little clip of the Superman at the beginning with the kids with the podcasting they're doing or whatever, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I forgot how bad that was.
Can you fight a hippo?
God, I just can't believe they Warner Brothers looked at that and went, "Yep, that's fine. Put it out." Like, and it's right at the beginning of the movie, right?
Yeah.
Like, geez. Yeah. Anyway, but again, and for the people, like I said, there's people who, we're not talking about ruining anybody's career. No one's trying to ruin anybody's career. We just would like to see, number one, don't act like this on set. Listen to your people of color or your women or your LGBTQ people that you have on set, both in front of and behind the camera. Listen to them, consider them, and if anything does happen, again, listen, look, don't get defensive, don't get, just listen to people. Let's figure out how we can be better instead of getting defensive and butting heads and saying no, you're not. Like just listen to people. That's all. That's the only lesson I can say. Like this is a lesson in listening, and trying to do better instead of establishing, just letting your ego, being led by your ego. It's not good for anybody. So, and then hopefully Whedon takes this as teachable moments and can kind of maybe look at some ways, maybe do some things I could do differently, going forward, and become a better filmmaker for it. I don't know.
Yeah, man. One can hope, but this leads me to, and we'll wrap it up after this because it's almost getting late.
Yeah.
The Flash just started production, and Ray Fisher has opened up to the idea of returning to the role of Cyborg.
Okay.
He's previously said that he doesn't want to be involved in any production associated with Walter Hamada, who is the president of DC Films. Now, the president of DC Films is going to be associated with every DC project. Yeah. He's the president of DC Films.
Right.
But since then, Ray Fisher has said, I'd be open to the conversation of coming back, but there needs to be some acknowledgement of, in some capacity that, Warner Brothers went about this the wrong way. What I'm getting at is, do you see a scenario? Would you hope to see a scenario of Ray Fisher returning as Cyborg in the Flash movie? Because it seems like the two characters, Flash and Cyborg, had a pretty good relationship. It felt like, they had a brotherly thing going on.
Yeah.
Your take?
Yeah, agreed. And maybe even with Wonder Woman as well. Diana recruited him to the team. They had some pretty good scenes together as well. But yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I know. Just the scenes they redid. Obviously, the digging up the grave scene, that's a good scene, right? Much better than the other version. Honestly, but they had some good banter, the two of them together. Like they really. I think I know. I read that he just wants an apology, like I said, some kind of acknowledgement. Just to what you're right. However they want to say it, I don't know. It'd be a personal, between them. But I get that. I totally understand that. I would be the same way, and that would go. I understand that. That would go a long way. Towards the healing process, right? Because I'm sure he really cares about this character. He probably put a lot into it. A lot of prep. A lot of thoughts went into how he wanted to portray it, and so I'm sure he would love to return to it. And he's really good. So it'd be great to see him again. And because this could be a star-making turn for him, man. So it's gonna be a big opportunity for him. And if he doesn't get this, I would like to see him get other opportunities elsewhere if he can.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that would be the right thing to do.
Yeah, Ray Fisher said this past week, Andy, the director, Andy Muschietti, who did it, Chapter 1 and 2, who's directing the Flash movie, Andy seems to have his head on straight and understood these characters by making it about the relationship more than just a display of superpowers. We were on the same page about that, and it'll be a bummer if there's no way to resolve the issue. So, yeah, he seems to be open.
Yeah.
If I'm Warner Brothers, look, I'm ignoring everything that Ray Fisher has said about us in tweets, and I'm saying, you want to get the fandom off your back a little bit, and like just try and turn this thing around from a public perspective, you put him in the movie.
Yeah. Just sit
You
him
put
down.
him.
Like, how can we fix
Mhm.
this? Like, and it'd be a good business decision, right? Because people know
Yeah.
him. Obviously, he was Cyborg. He's Cyborg. Like,
Yeah.
he's the big screen version of Cyborg. Like, let's get going. Cyborg's a popular character, and this is the guy you got playing him. So I would personally, I'd sit him down and figure out how we can make this right.
Mhm.
So let's make some money.
Cyborg in more TV shows now. Well, he is in Doom Patrol,
Right.
which the third season is coming.
Right.
Obviously in Teen Titans, but I'm really invested in Ray Fisher's Cyborg, where
Yeah.
I would like to see more of his character. One, he's really good at playing the role,
Very good.
and two, it's just it's a way for them to make things right. I'm not
Yeah.
saying give him co-lead. It's Flash's movie.
Yeah.
But I would like to see something more than a cameo. And to be honest, if they announce tomorrow that Ray Fisher is back as Cyborg, I'm a lot more excited about the Flash movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, that will just about do it, guys, for Fandom United number 20. Thank you so much for watching, whether you're live or on playback. Be sure to leave us your thoughts on the topics today. This is our second Sunday in a row, so it is early in this podcasting journey. But Keith, I would love to have you back every Sunday. We are doing something Mortal Kombat related because Mortal Kombat releases on Friday, and we're going to be talking about it on Apocalypse, not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday. But before that, I will be hosting a Mortal Kombat discussion during the weekend. So stay tuned for that. That will be happening next weekend. I'd love to have you on, Keith. But yeah, that would just about do it. Keith, do you want to plug any shows, social media, anything like that?
You can follow me right there at Keith Barnes 79 on Twitter. I'm on Instagram at Keith Barnes 1979. You can see me on Tuesdays usually on Apocalypse Now, in the Apocalypse movies. And yeah, Gio, thank you once again for having me, my brother. Good discussion.
Yeah, it's always a good discussion, man. I love having you on. I'd be happy to have you on every week. We'll see if we can make that possible. You guys can find me on Twitter at Grey Goose Jedi. If you haven't subscribed to the Fandom United channel, I request that you do so. I would love your subscription. I got a lot of reaction videos out this past week. I just did a read along for Alfred Molina talking about Dr. Octopus and his returning to Spider-Man No Way From Home. But before we go, we have a quick question right here. This is for you, Keith. Did you get to see Punisher Dirty Laundry yet?
No, I didn't watch it yet. Put it on YouTube right now.
Check
I'm
your,
watch it.
yeah, go to YouTube, type in Dirty Laundry, Punisher, and check it out. Stardrew, come back next week. We'll talk about Dirty Laundry, and
Yes.
yeah, we'll talk about that. And hopefully we get some more people to join in on the live chats. So Stardrew is not alone by himself. But regardless, that's what makes Stardrew awesome. That's what makes you awesome, sir. Thank you for hanging in there
Yeah,
and
Stardrew.
joining
Yeah.
me. I won't forget you when we have 200 people in the chat, I promise. But that'll just about do it. All of you out there, have a great Sunday evening, a great work week, and we'll see you next weekend. Take care.
Yes.